Yeah, I just wanna be the greatest. Everybody knows my name, shit. I'ma have this whole fucking game list, spitting with insane wit, and I'm gonna be famous. Ain't nobody able to delay this. Coming up, I had a vision to make it. Never wanted to be nothing, always wanted to play shit. Sit in class, always wondering why I love this lame shit. How the hell am I different if we all know the same shit? I ain't never let them doubt me, it's about me. Keep my head down, let my mouth speak. They surround me, they all about the clout, see where the crowd be. Every time I speak loudly, they more about me. Man, you know I got a bounty on these lousy ass haters that surround me. Still they doubt me, they don't know nothing about me. Still their mouths free, I'ma change that soon. Better watch out now, see?
I just wanna be the greatest, yeah. And I just wanna be famous, yeah. Yeah, I just wanna be the greatest, yeah. And I just wanna be famous, yeah.
And I'm not playing any more games. Either put me on the charts or I'll put you up in flames. Better recognize art, cause I don't forget names. Should've seen me from the start, coming at you like a train. Think I'm about to fall apart every single fucking day. Seeing all these damn stars with my well-deserved fame. And I spit these gold bars while they spitting out shit. Man, I give this shit hard, but it gives me back pain. I wanna be a spectacle, they skeptical. But man, I got the chemical, exceptional. I do it all intentional, professional, so I can make that decimal incredible. I'm not thinking, man, they're saying that I've gone insane. I'm not ever gonna make it cause the game has changed. I'm not good enough, man, no that's not okay. Tell me that shit again and I'll stop the brain.
I just wanna be the greatest, yeah. And I just wanna be famous, yeah. Yeah, I just wanna be the greatest, yeah. Man, I just wanna be famous, yeah.
Now wake up, you got some shit to do. It's 6 a.m, I don't care, you got some shit to prove. Cause right now, you ain't got nothing that big to lose. So get your ass to work and don't you dare hit snooze. Can't stop this, I'm obnoxious, and I'm honest and novice with promise. Made monstrous, I'm conscious, but I'm nauseous. Think I've lost it, I've got it. Spitting all this, still I'm not it. I've got this, I will not quit. Man, I'm all in, ballin' on a budget. Man, I'm stalling, crawling, cause I'm nothing, but I'm all in, calling, I'll be something. Yeah, I'ma get it now, you can leave if you don't like it. Say it out loud, you believe it, you can bite this. Keep my head down and I keep on going timeless. Make it somehow, I believe it when I write this.
I just wanna be the greatest, yeah. And I just wanna be famous, yeah. Yeah, I just wanna be the greatest, yeah. Man, I just wanna be famous, yeah.
Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the East Meets West. I am AK Eagles, and I am joined with my brother on the West Coast, Philly Foothills, Fuego. How's it going, buddy? One second here, everyone. There he is.
What is good? What's going on? What's cracking, everybody? Appreciate each and every one of you. Like I always say, you guys are the food and the water to the channel. Without you, it does not continue to survive. So without further ado, let's get cracking with this another East Meets West podcast with my guy, AK Eagles, Eagles Uncensored Podcast. I'm out here on the West Coast with S West. He's over in near Philly in Pennsylvania in the East, and we are holding it down from coast to coast for all the Eagles fans out there. Let's get it cracking. How we doing, my guy?
Oh, doing good, man. Kind of tired, it's Christmas time, so there's a lot going on. Just finishing off the last week here before Christmas. So, parents are always getting drained this time of year because we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off.
Yeah, it's a stressful time.
Oh, it is. Yeah. You definitely want to make it the best you can, and every year you do it, and every year it gets more and more stressful the older they get. So.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy it. I love decorating for the holidays. I love doing the Christmas tree. But yeah, stressful.
Yeah, I know, especially with inflation and everything like that. So yeah, I totally understand.
Right. No. So real quick, we'll just jump back to last week, and we'll recap the Raiders game real quick because we do our stuff on Friday. So most people have talked about it already. How'd you like the Raiders game this past weekend?
I mean, from a fan standpoint, I absolutely loved it. It was nice to see the offense kind of get out of their rut, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the Raiders, the Titans, the Jets. It's still an NFL team, and the Raiders they've lost a lot of games this year, but they've also been competitive against some top-notch teams as well. So, I think we definitely made a statement, to the NFL that this is not 2023, and the defense is looking like they want to win another championship. They really, really have impressed me for the most part this year. Yeah, they've had a couple bumps in the road, but I mean, every team has some ups and downs and some flaws that they have to, and some wrinkles that they have to kind of iron out throughout the year. And I think we're getting healthier on defense. Obviously Jalen Carter's still out, but yeah, man, I definitely wasn't expecting the Raiders to score a lot of points against us. But on the other hand, I wasn't expecting our defense to pitch a shutout either. So,
Yeah.
I came away from that game pretty damn impressed and happy with the outcome for sure.
Yeah, and I will say this. I expected them to go in there and do what they needed to do. I'm with you. I was a little shocked about a shutout. I at least thought maybe they could get 3 to 10.
Yeah.
But no, it was a solid game defensively. I mean, dude, BG had 2 sacks. That's incredible, man. He's out here schooling these young guns.
Right.
But it's you can obviously see there is a different level to our defense. You can tell that for whatever success we have moving forward, it will all depend on our defense. There have been a few games, like you said, where our defense has been a little lackluster, like the Bears game and stuff like that. But it's really hard for the defense to do what they got to do when they're out there all the time, like all the time. So I get that, man. I've never really once blamed our defense this year because I've seen what they are capable of doing. I watched them at the beginning of the year carry us through the first 6-7 weeks. A lot of those victories against Detroit and all these good teams at the beginning of the year that we faced, and the Rams and stuff, that was defensive won games and special teams. I can't take their credit away. It is what it is. Offensively, we look good against the Raiders, but then once again, like I said, I really did expect that, man. The Raiders kind of punched their ticket 7 weeks ago. We kind of all knew, that this team just was not that team. They were right there with the Saints. They were right there, with Cleveland right now. I get they're professional teams, and these are professional players, but they're like the ones no one wanted. You know what I mean? The misfits. They're like the island of misfits. Yeah, the replacements, the island of misfits.
Yeah.
Like
the minor league team, the G
yeah,
squad.
this is like your first game of college when Purdue comes to Penn State and gets their ass kicked or something. You know what I mean? Like this was expected to a point. Like you said, not quite the shutout part. But It was
Right.
very, very much expected to be in our favor and a win, you know. I don't know, man. I really did like what I saw from the offense to a standpoint, but I need to see that against teams that it matters. You know, and listen, people all year long have called me negative, and I'm fine with that, man. Call me what you want. I call it a realist. You know, um, I've never once stopped rooting for this team, not once. You know, but I'm not afraid to sit up here and call the flaws of them. You know, it's okay to say what you want improvements on your team, even if we are winning, you know, because we want to keep winning. That is the whole point of this, to go back to back. The whole point is to keep building over the next 5 years and keep this train going and see how many you can roll off, you know, and to criticize whatever is going on. Criticism only makes it better, because if you can't say anything at all, then if you don't know what you're doing wrong and you don't know your mistakes, then how are you going to learn from them and get better, especially if no one's pointing them out? You know, if you mess up at work, does your boss not tell you what you did wrong? You know, that's the way this
Definitely.
has to be,
Right.
man. You know, that's the
Yep.
way that I look at this. When my players or my coaches mess up, I have the authority and the responsibility to say something. Not only
Mhm.
do we put a shit ton of money into this team every year from merchandise that we buy and games that we go to, you know, our voices deserve to be heard. So if I feel something is wrong with this team, even if they are 8-4, even if they are 10-1, or, you know, whatever, it's not wrong to criticize them. That's what they get paid the big bucks for, man. You know, so that's the thing. Like I said, you come out here this weekend and you do exactly what you did to the Raiders. That'll definitely take my pain level and bring it down a lot from the last, you know, we'll say 4 weeks of the shitty play that we've seen, you know, there for a little while. That you will bring my concern level down, right? But you come out against Buffalo and you completely shit the bed, well, my mindset goes right back to where it was before. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just beat up on shitty teams and then tank against good ones. Just can't do that.
Right. But you're
So
not going to be playing shitty teams in the playoffs. So,
no. You
yeah,
think the
you
Bears
have
are
to
going to
work
roll over
against
for them in the playoffs? You think Seattle's going to roll over for us in the playoffs?
the
You think the
49ers. Yeah.
Rams or the 49ers? No, dude.
Right.
And the one thing I can
Packers.
say is, and the one thing I can say about all those teams is they actually have coordinators who their players believe in and are consistent and are good play callers. You know what I mean? And that is the one thing that is one of the most important things when it comes to offense is that, you know, when you look at a rating scale, you know, whenever people rate teams and who's going to win that day, they look at head coach, they look at quarterback, they look at O-line, they look at halfback and wide receivers, and they rate them by what they have. Well, you look at these head coaches that we're going up against. Yeah, even though Nick has a Super Bowl win, uh, that was Kellen Moore. You know what I mean? That was his offense. That was his system. He called the plays. So I can't say that the head coach is better than someone who is actually the head coach and calling his own plays. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a separation there. And so yeah, man, I look at it, and these guys, coaches, more than anything. I don't blame our players. I blame our coaches more than anything. You know, we talked about it last week. His three things that he preaches: fundamentals, oh
Detail.
shit, detail, and yeah, what was it? Sorry.
Fundamentals, detail, and Oh, why am I drawing a blank too?
Yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. We have had a lot of penalties lately over these last few games. That's not being detailed. That is a coach thing. Yeah, my players, sure. Sometimes it is their fault that they jump off sides because they don't listen to the count or they get antsy and jump, right? I understand that, but that is not 100% all their fault. That is coaching. You have to coach that into them to be, on their P's and Q's and be right in that moment so you don't mess up, you know? So that's what I mean, man. It really comes down to coaching in the playoffs. You have to be the best. So.
Yeah, and this past game, we definitely did better with some of the some of the stupid penalties and things like that. The one I can remember most clearly was the one early on in the game where Cooper was jawing with
oh yeah,
he was jawing with the receiver that was on the Seahawks for years. I can't think of his name right the
Tyler Lockett.
Second, but Tyler Lockett, yeah, and he pushed him after the whistle. But Lockett really sold that too. I mean, he fell down like he got sniped out from a freaking tower. Like he got shot by a freaking sniper. So, like you said though, it's kind of. I think we're starting to clean things up, and we're starting to focus in a little bit more. You've seen some evidence of possibly that Scott Loeffler, the quarterback's coach for our Eagles, is now getting a little bit more involved with the offense because we ran some plays, especially that shovel pass to Goddard in the red zone to score the touchdown. That is right out of Scott Loeffler's playbook from Bowling Green. He ran a very similar play to that last year when he was the head coach. And I think Nick has kind of stepped in a little bit, and he's like, you know what? I may not be comfortable and confident in calling plays with this offense, but we have someone here on our staff that is, and we need to get in his ear a little bit and start picking his brain about how we can get this train rolling a little smoother. So I was happy to see that, and man, if and when, because it's coming, Jalen Carter comes back and this defensive line stays healthy, look out. Because, like you said, even BG had a couple of successes last game, and he's been playing snaps from the defensive tackle spot. He's rushing from the inside, which I like to see because, BG is he's got that. He's kind of like Nolan Smith in that way where they have a great bull rush, and they'll just overpower guys. And BG has still got, like I said before, he's still got some gas in the tank, and he's showing it. He's not just a rah leader guy that they brought back for veteran leadership in the locker room and to be that old wise man on the sideline. No, he's getting in the trenches with the guys. He's up there playing. He's out there busting his ass just like the rest of these guys. So, I'm really, really liking what I'm seeing from the defensive line, the depth that we have on the defensive line. Jomo, Young, these guys. Right. Like I said, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, all these guys are stepping up, and they're kind of putting things together when it matters most down the stretch. And that's when you ultimately want to be playing your best football. And I think we are starting to hit that stride, especially defensively. And as long as this defense, from top to bottom, I mean, the linebackers are playing great. N'Kobe Dean, Zach Bond, we're going to get a little bit more into Zach Bond a little later, but the secondary is playing very well also. So if the defense as a whole keeps playing like the way they are, they're going to keep us in games. It's just a matter of the offense being able to sustain drives, put up points, and we'll go from there. It's just a matter of kind of tinkering and getting things ironed out, and I think we're going to be just fine. I really do.
Well, and that's why I said, man, I just need to see it against somebody of matter. Like, listen,
Right.
First and foremost, I look at this season and it's been a whirlwind. You can't actually sit here and put your finger on who's the best. I mean, you have a few ideas who is the best team right now,
Right.
but you can't really pinpoint. It could be Seattle, it could be the Niners, it could be the Bills, it could be us, it could be Denver, it could be the Patriots, and nobody was even expecting the Patriots. So I think the most consistent team this year, in my opinion, is New England. Drake May has probably been the most consistent quarterback in my eyes. And he's doing it with an aged Stephon Diggs, who everyone pretty much washed their hands of, and they revitalized him there. He's got Hunter Henry and a few good tight ends, and that defense is not bad. Vrabel's got him playing really well. So, and it would kind of be a tie with the Broncos because that defense is nasty, man. And when Bo Nix is on and he's playing really good football, that team is very hard to stop, so it's very tough, man, because we've all taken losses to people we shouldn't have. You know what I mean? But yet we've also all have won games that, people expected us to. So it's just a funny season, man. It really is. Right. And I agree with you here, SE. You can only blame the players so much, and for penalties, man, that is things that in my mind during training camp, my coach is making me fear to get a penalty, because if I do, I'm going to be running wind sprints for fucking 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fear of God is put into me during OTAs that if I fuck up and get penalties, there's going to be very big repercussions. And usually players, it gets drilled into them pretty quick. And yeah, you get one or two here and there, but for the most part, there is some teams out there who don't commit many penalties because they're coached very well and they're taught fundamentals and not to do things, and you can clearly tell this year there is no fundamentals here. These guys have got, dude, Tyler Steen's gotten more false starts and holding penalties than I've ever seen an Eagle player have in like 6 years on this team. You know what I mean? Like, and I actually think the kid is pretty talented. He just fucks up too much. If he'd stop holding on a lot of these plays and killing some drives, he's not that bad. Now, granted, our only graces is it's his second year. He's still young.
Right.
So, I mean, that's our only positive. But
yeah, and there's holding all the time in the NFL. It's just a matter of being smart enough, right? Having the football IQ to not, if you know when you're committing a hold and when you're not committing a hold. If you're holding, you just can't hold for 8 to 10 seconds because the referee's gonna fucking see that, right? If you hold, at least let go after the first 3 or 4 seconds. Don't sit there and sustain a hold where a referee can take a picture of it and send it UPS before the play is over. It's just you just have to be smart. You have to, and most of the penalties for this football team have been on the offensive side of the ball. They really have, whether it's false starts, like you said, holding calls, things like that,
Yeah, the defense gets bonehead penalties, like spitting on someone and roughing. They don't get technical penalties. Now and then we might get a false start. Now and then we might get one. you know. But for the most part, our
Defensive
defense
holding, something
is
like
coached
that.
very
Yeah.
well. Vic has them dialed in. They're dialed in. They know what the fuck they're doing. And they're confident, so they don't have to jump off sides. Like, dude, do you know how many times Nakobe Dean could have jumped off sides on those blitzes up the middle? But you saw him, he was jumping in the middle, and he waited. He waited for his time. Like, and he was counting it. You could tell. So so that's what I'm saying. That the defense is very well coached. They know what they're doing. They know what their job is, and they're very detailed. It doesn't look that way on the other side of the ball to me. You know, there's a lot of mistakes being made.
Right.
And Vic runs the defense. So Nick, you got to get your guys together. You know, detailed is one of the biggest things you preach. Well, I haven't seen detail all year long. And penalties have shown that.
Well,
We're one of the highest penalized teams this year. That's not good.
Right. And that's the biggest defense. That's the biggest difference, in my opinion, between the 2023 team that collapsed epically and this team that has struggled a little bit as of late, but obviously bounced back last week. Is that we have the guy you were just talking about. Vic Fangio is an outstanding defensive coordinator who has almost 50 years of coaching experience, 50, not 15, 47 years of coaching experience under his belt. So the dude knows what he's fucking doing. He's been through eras of football in his career of coaching, and he knows how to adjust. He knows how to listen to his players. He knows how to run what they like and what they don't like, how to make adjustments from week to week depending on the opponent, things like that. So, yeah, Vic is what's going to – in 2023, we had fucking Sean Desai and then Matt Patricia. They were both absolute garbage. The fucking defense fell apart down the stretch. We lost what was it, like 5 or 6 out of 7 games, including the playoffs down the stretch in the 2023 season. That's not going to fucking happen this year. It just really isn't, because Vic won't let it. He just won't. If the offense can't put up many points, he's just going to put the clamps down even harder on the opposing offense. So I'm not worried about the defense at all, because, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Henry Jackson, Reed Blankenship, Marcus Epps has stepped in since Makuma Matata got hurt. Right. So the defense is solid, dude. Zach Bond, through 14 games, has 108 tackles. He's for a loss. He's got 5 quarterback hits, 3.5 sacks, 7 pass breakups, 2 picks, and 1 fourth fumble. So I'm not worried about the defense. And like I spoke earlier, the defensive line looks pretty solid as well, especially with the addition of Jalen Phillips. He's looking like a stud. He's done very well. He's comfortable in Vic's scheme, in his system, and it's all about the offense right now. It's all about whether
Hey, real quick though,
Kevin
I'm
Nick Sirianni are going to listen to.
I'm not going to bullshit though on this defense. All right. One thing I will say, Nolan Smith needs to start showing me something here very soon. And I mean like that next step that BG took after we tore him down here in Philly. You need to show me that BG jump now. I understand that he hasn't been starting that long, and he was kind of raw coming in, but dude, you are a part of this Georgia team. You are a part of this pack, and Jalix Hunt is playing really good, and BG at 37 years old just got 2 sacks. You are one of the fastest defensive ends in the NFL. You need to start sacking quarterbacks, my guy. Like, I understand, and I know you know what I'm saying, man. Like we had to go out and trade for Phillips because these ends weren't as good as what we thought they were. Like, let's not bullshit. That is what it is. Nolan Smith and Hunt just weren't at that point in their career yet where they can be constant pressures on the quarterback. So what did he do? He had to go out and he had to get Phillips and bring him in to help that out. And he's done a tremendous job doing it. JP's amazing. But now you're depending on BG to make 2 sacks a game now too and play. That's why I need Nolan to step up, man. You know, it's pretty sad when a dude from, where did he come from? Christian Academy or something like that? Like Hunt? It was.
Who's that? Oh, yeah, I think you got it.
Hunt? Yeah, he came from like Christian Academy or something like that. Bro, when a dude from Christian Academy who none of us really knew coming out of college has passed you in the developmental stage of defensive end in the NFL when you came from Georgia, I'm a little concerned about that. You know what I mean? So I just need
Houston Christian University.
Houston Christian University, yeah. So when a guy like that is passing you when you went to Georgia, you need to dial in, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even being harsh here. I love Nolan, but I need to see your Von Miller now. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of Von Miller, I didn't even know he was still in the league. He's on the Commanders. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, he's in Washington, yeah. But no, that's a great comparison for Nolan Smith, Von Miller. If you look at him, height, weight, speed, they're very, very identical.
Wingspan.
Dude, I need you to find your Von or I need you to find your Von Miller now. I really do. You need to take that jump because if not, we got to replace him and find somebody who will.
I mean, and I agree with you to an extent. You know, to Nolan's in his defense. I mean, I guess it's kind of in his defense. He has been hurt this year. He did miss 4 or 5 games on the put on the short-term injured reserve. So, you know, we don't want to see that continue to be a trend with him to be, you know, we don't want to see ongoing injury issues and things like that. We need him on the field. And you're right. You know, you can't be getting outperformed by guys who are making less money than you, who are from way smaller schools than you were from, and
or old enough to be your granddad.
Period. Right. Yeah.
Like, I hate to tell you, man. When BG's outperforming you at 37, that is a fucking
At least old enough to be your dad.
Dude, he should have more energy than BG. He should be able to do things BG can't because he's younger, but yet the old vet is getting it. That's all I'm saying, man. I love Nolan. I want him to be here, but I know, dude, maybe because I'm asking too much because he is a first round, 32nd overall pick. Like, I'm not going to forget that either. You know, like we did get him in the first round, or was it 30th, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, but he's first. Yeah, he's still a first round pick. I need to see that, man. We took a chance on you. Now show us we made the right decision. That's all I'm asking. You know, it even took Jordan Davis 4 years to get his shit together, but that's what I need him to do. You know, I need him to do that Jordan Davis leap. That is what I need.
Jordan Davis also, you know, as we all know, or Eagles fans should know, Jordan Davis dropped quite a bit of weight this past offseason. So he's in way better shape now, and he is just playing at a higher level due to his stamina and things like that being a lot higher. So, yeah, I mean, has room to improve, and if we want him to be a starting defensive end for us in the future going forward, he definitely does have to take another step forward. Absolutely. He really does.
Yeah.
Because we need it. We do.
Well,
I think it's just a matter of, I think they're kind of slowly getting him back into the groove of things since he's come back from injury. You know, I think Hunt and Phillips have been starting, and they've used Nolan as more of a rotational piece. But, you know, look for that to kind of more balance out and for him to be getting splitting more 50-50 reps with both those guys, because he can rush from either side and he's got plenty of moves in his arsenal. It's just a matter of getting it all in line and getting it, like you said, he's got the capability of being a player like Von Miller. So we just need to see the performance on the field.
Well, and here's the thing too. I just don't want the kid to get buried. You know, we've seen it on this team time and time again when we draft players who we expect something from, and they just haven't quite got it. So we just kind of back off a little, like we do now and then, and try and develop them. And then in the meantime, we draft someone, and that draftee actually does really well, and then that player never hits the field again. I don't want him to get buried in the depth chart because he just can't make that leap, and then we have to go out this offseason and bring someone in, or we keep Phillips, you know, or there's many things that can happen. And, you know, when you spend a first-round pick on someone like that, you just expect something from him. So I just don't want him getting buried. That's all, you know, so he just has to do that.
Kind of like Campbell has that linebacker, right? Since Nakobe Dean has come back from an injury, Campbell's gotten buried. You know, he's not getting very much playing time, just because Bond, Dean, and Phillips are playing at high levels. So, you know, he hasn't really been needed as much. But I still think that Vic needs to find a way to kind of get him more back into the mix a little bit, things like that when he can. Obviously, you don't want to force the issue, but you also too, you don't want to wear out Bond, and you don't want to wear out Dean and those guys. You know, you want to keep them set up going into the postseason and having underneath them for what we hope is a deep playoff run. So we got to use we need on both sides of the ball. We're going to need all hands on deck when it comes to the playoffs, because like you said, we can beat up on these lesser teams all we want, but those teams ain't going to be in the fucking postseason. We got to be able to beat teams like Denver, teams like Buffalo, teams like San Francisco, teams like we already beat in the Packers, teams like we probably could have beat if we would have played a little better on both sides of the ball in the Bears. So, you know, all those more than likely, all those teams are going to be in the playoffs, and we're going to have to be playing. We're going to be playing our A game come week one of the postseason.
Well, and let me give you a few more examples, man. Like for instance, I believe Kelly Ringo is one of the guys that got buried. Now, what that happened was, and it actually was a negative effect, you know, because we drafted him to take over eventually down the road whenever Slay retired, and I think because we kept Slay and Bradbury as long as we did, and then you draft in Quignon and Coop, and he got buried. Well, we all know one of the main things of development is you got to play. And I'm sorry, but you telling me playing at practice, you know, on the practice squad against third stringers, yeah, that's practice, but it ain't making these guys better. They're just getting their reps. They're staying warm that way. But once you go up against AJ every day, you'll either sink or you'll swim. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying, man. Like sometimes being buried can either make or break you, and I feel it broke him. You know, Cooper right now, wide receiver Cooper, he's another one at the moment that's being buried, and it's only because of the talent we already have at that position. But I think Cooper has some pretty decent talent. He made a few catches last week that I thought were really nice. You know, so you don't want to get buried, and that's my only concern.
Wide receiver too.
Yeah, so that's my only concern, man. Like, because we all know how he's main thing, and that's what's shitty about where he plays too, because that's the two things how he focuses on the most. O-line and D-line. So don't think for 1 second if Howie's not sitting there at like 27-32 this year, and if somebody's there at defensive end, he ain't gonna take him if he feels that dude's worth it. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, Nolan's not playing so much, and then I'm just saying it's not where you want to be. It's not where you want to be. Don't give Howie a reason to feel he has to replace you. And right now, I feel Howie doesn't think that he's not replaceable.
Yeah, and depending on how things kind of shake out with our seeding, and it's a long shot right now because the Seahawks did win last night in pretty amazing fashion. I'd have to say
That was a crazy game, dude.
It was probably one of the best Thursday night football games I've seen ever on Thursday night. So
yeah, they're usually shitty.
They are, because it's a short week, things like that. But unless the previous week was the Thanksgiving game, then you get a full week to prepare. But it's usually a short week. Thursday night games aren't usually that good. But Seattle got a little lucky last night, but so because
Sam
didn't
get
they're
lucky.
the number 1 seed now.
Sam didn't get lucky. Sam is him, bro.
But the number 1 seed is still in play for the Eagles. It's a long shot, but it's still in play because the Rams lost. More than likely, we could catch the Bears because they have 3 pretty tough games going down the stretch here in the next 3 weeks. So we might be able to get the 2nd seed, but if come week 18, if they have the 2nd seed locked up and we don't have any chance of moving either way, then look for Nick to rest some of these guys like Dickerson, like Juergens, Jalen Carter, Lane Johnson. There's no reason to rush them back because we need, like I said, all hands on deck when it comes to the playoffs. And if an extra week of rest, that could do absolute wonders for guys in the NFL. That's like a month for us in real time. So if the 2nd seed is out of reach come the final week of the season, I mean, look for Nick to start all the 2nd stringers probably on both sides of the ball because he's not going to want to risk any injury to any of our key players. And it's going to be interesting this week because we're playing on Saturday. So we're playing tomorrow. We got I think it's 2 p.m. out here on the West, which would be 5 o'clock your guys' time out there in the East. So, it's kind of like a Sunday night game, but it's a day earlier for the Eagles. So, I'm expecting the Eagles to win and to win pretty convincingly for a couple of reasons. The Commanders have not played very high level of football this year, even when Jalen Daniels has been in the game. We know they shut him down for the remainder of the year. So we're going to be facing Marcus Mariota at quarterback, another former backup quarterback for the Eagles that we're going to be facing. So I just think that our defense is going to do their job. Right? Yeah, that was tough. I just watched the Hard Knocks.
Man. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, it really was. Him crying. After he got hurt, you just knew there was so many emotions going through his head and everything like that he knew that there was a strong possibility that was going to be the last time he ever played football again. So coming back from a torn ACL is going to be tough at his age. So it was hard to watch.
It was very hard for me because I was a huge Selleck fan. Selleck was kind of my childhood growing up. Brett was amazing. I thought there was no one better than Brett. And then Zach Ertz came, and Zach Ertz is honestly my favorite tight end that we've ever had. I think the way he carried himself as a professional, I think the way he carried himself on and off the field was fantastic. He's very family oriented, and the catches that boy made for this team, man, over the years. You know, I get it. People at the end of his career, they were like, he's not a yak guy. Zach didn't have to be, because guess what? I knew on 3rd and 7, Zach was catching it. It didn't matter. You didn't need 15 extra yards because you always could count on Zach to catch that ball. You know, his sideline catches, his over the middle of the field. I mean, dude would take hits that you couldn't believe, you know, and still get up and just act and just shake it off and keep going. So, no, he definitely. I never thought anyone could pass Brett, but he's my favorite, man. You know, and his style, bro. He could pull off the blonde hair. You know what I mean? He could really pull that off.
Yeah. I mean, before Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz, I was a pretty big Chad Lewis guy too. Chad Lewis was a dog. He played through hell injuries. That guy was fucking tough as nails. But obviously one of Donovan McNabb's favorite targets back in the day. But yeah, I mean, Ertzy from what he did in 2017, and you know, going down the stretch in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, I mean, he's a legend in Philadelphia, and he always will be. He really, really is. And you know, I wish him the best. If he's done playing, you know, I hope if he wants to, he goes into coaching or goes into broadcasting or whatever. Because you know, I hold him in very, very high regards. I really do. You know, I hated seeing the Eagles trade him away. I know it's a business, and it was a business decision. But seeing him go to the Cardinals was one thing. But then when he became a Commander, that was even tougher to watch. But, you know, I can't blame the guy because he wanted to continue. And he was still playing it hard to watch him take that shot. And I knew it. As soon as I seen that, I'm like, oh, if he didn't break his leg, he definitely tore some ligaments. And sure enough, he did.
See, I blame Howie. All you had to do was send him a fucking 6th-round pick and bring his ass home for the rest of the year to go after this last Super Bowl, and you could have made him a backup to fucking Dallas Goedert, and we could have had 2 really good tight ends and not have to worry about Calcaterra being out there. And he probably would still be playing right now. He wouldn't be injured because he wouldn't have to jump for a fucking crazy-ass ball from Marcus Mariota. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't blame Howie, but it just
it sucks for Ertz.
It does,
really
man.
does. And you know, I wish him the best. I really do. All the best in the world for that guy. You know, he's a legend. He always will be.
100%. So listen, tomorrow, man, you said it. It is Marcus Mariota. I think they got Eckler back, if I'm not mistaken. They got Austin Eckler back. He's finally back, right? I saw Debo in last week. Scary Terry's there. So they still got some weapons. You know, Bobby Wagner's still being Bobby Wagner.
Old man Bobby Wagner, yeah.
Old man Bobby Wagner's still hanging on, man.
Daddy.
He's still hanging on, dude. But no, I mean,
speaking of old men, let me say something real quick before I forget. Yeah. I said to my coworkers, because I'm out here on the West Coast, as you know. But anybody listening, if they don't, I'm out here in California where there's a lot of 49 fans, and they have another senior guy who is, I mean, definitely in his later years in his career, in Trent Williams. And I said to my coworkers, I said, if we end up playing the 49ers in the playoffs, if BG goes head up with Trent Williams, that is an AARP sponsorship waiting to happen.
You know something, man? I'm going to tell you this right now. If that would happen, I would only make it to where BG and him go one-on-one, because at least the two old guys ain't gonna hurt one another. You know what I mean? Like it is.
Yeah.
It's a fair fight at that point. Like they're.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would make that a fair fight. I'm not lining Nolan Smith up on Trent Williams' side. I'm gonna be like, BG, just go kill him. Just go eat him up.
Yeah.
Because BG can win that on his own.
I'm not. Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. But I'm not worried about Scary Terry that much. You know,
No.
Quignon's going to follow him. Vic has given Quignon the shadowing capability to follow the best receiver wherever he really goes for the opposing team. So Quignon's going to put him in jail. He's going to put him in Guantanamo Bay. And, you know, it's more about, you know, us being offensively sound, being with the blocking and with the play calls, the things like that. You know, it's about execution. Because I think if we score 17 or more points tomorrow, I think we'll be fine. I really do. I think the defense is going to lock them up.
Just remember this, man. Washington is out. Okay. The only thing they're playing for right now is spoilers.
Right.
You know, the only reason they want to win this game tomorrow is to piss us off. Really, I mean that is all they're playing for, and it is a division rivalry game. You know, it's not as big as Dallas, but I'll tell you what, sometimes it feels that way. You know, and I will say this: there is a point to where I do feel that our rivalry is going to start shifting soon away from Dallas. Now, listen, Dallas week will always be there. That hate will always be there. But how can you hate on someone who's been shitty for 20 fucking years? You know what I'm saying? Like it's eventually going to get to the point where it's not going to be fun hating on them because it's sad just watching them. You know.
Well, I mean, Nick Foles hasn't played a football game in how many years?
90s? Wasn't it the 80s and 90s? Wasn't Washington our biggest rival back then? I'm pretty sure back whenever Joe Gibbs was their head coach and shit. Like that was the body bag game, all that shit. Like, dude, I'm pretty sure Washington used to be a bigger rival than Dallas at one point. It always shifts. There's always a shift, you know. Giants, dude, the Giants were a huge rivalry with us during Eli Manning's time. You know,
early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel that shift is going to change here soon, whether it be the Giants or Washington. Yeah, we're still going to hate Dallas, but we're just going to be like, calm down, little guy. It's okay, you know. It's when your rivalry is a person that threatens you. You know what I mean? And Dallas has not threatened us in a long fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens, but we'll always hate them, but it just won't mean
Washington
as much.
I mean, when going in, when people looked at the East, it was us, Washington, Dallas, and New York. That's the way people looked at it. Because Washington was they were expected to be better than they have this year. Obviously, they've had their injury issues, things like that, their performance issues, things like that as well. And the thing is that, like you said, you know, Nick Foles hasn't played in how many years now? And he still has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott. So that just tells you something right there, because Dak Prescott's been in the league for quite a few years now. He really has. So, like you said, things always. The NFL is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. You know, there's different rivalries that that pop up. You know, like the Raiders and the Chiefs used to be huge rivals. Now the Raiders have fallen off. You know, the Chiefs aren't going to be in the playoffs for the first time in 11 fucking years, which I'm going to enjoy. But now it's
Right.
it's Denver. Now it's Denver and San Diego that are the rivals now in the AFC West. So you just never really know. It's kind of like the NFL it's any given Sunday, it's any given year. Really, things could change dramatically from year to year, from week to week, from month to month, things like that. So yeah, it's the Eagles' biggest opponent in the NFC East, in my opinion, is themselves right now.
Yeah.
You know, if we can get out of our own way and just play fucking football like we know we can play fucking football, nobody in this fucking division can fucking run with us. You know, we should have fucking smoked Dallas the second game, especially when we're at fucking 21-0. You know, we should have smoked their ass by at least fucking 20 points, if not more. And
we should have 10 wins right
New York
now.
beat us earlier this year, but you know, they kind of got lucky. Right. No, you're right. We absolutely should. 10, 11 wins right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. You know, it's
which makes you already clinch the division.
And we shouldn't have lost to New York. So yeah, we should be at like 11, 12 wins right now. Right. Yeah. And you probably you're in the number 2 seed, more than likely. So yeah, maybe even the number 1 seed. So I mean, it's just a matter of, like I said, we are our biggest opponent right now. If we can find a way to get out of our own way, like we did last week, like we kind of figured some things out. That's just lazy analysis right there, because they're still a football team. They're still professionals. Yes, they're one of the bottom tier teams in this league this year, but I don't really give a shit. You know, it's like I said earlier, they've not just once, but twice they've number 1 seed right now in the AFC. So the Raiders have shown that yeah, they may not be able to put up a lot of points, and they may get blown out in some games, but they've also shown some testicle fortitude at times too. So, you know, I'm happy with what I saw last week. I expect us to win tomorrow. Like I said, I think 17 points probably will get it done. I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game tomorrow. I really don't. I don't expect Washington to be able to kill us on the ground game like Chicago did, and I don't expect them to, you know, to have a quarterback who's, you know, getting first downs with his legs like Dart did earlier this year against us. So, you know, it's just a matter of the offense putting it together again in consecutive weeks, continue to attack with the run game. And, I mean, dude, we saw it, right? There's a difference when Jalen is under center compared to in shotgun. And the numbers speak for themselves. They really do. When he's in the shotgun, his yards per attempt are 5.4, and his QBR is 38.4. When he's under center, the yards per attempt go up almost double or more than double, I should say, or almost double actually, at 10.5 yards per attempt, and his QBR is almost double as well at 60.8. So just have them continue to go under center, get that play action going, keep them guessing, keep them on their heels. You know, the less predictable you are on offense, the better things are going to be in all totality. So just keep
For
chilling
sure.
under center as much as possible, and just keep doing the thing, doing your thing. You know, the last couple of weeks, yes, we did lose the Chargers in LA, but the offense outside of Jalen turning the ball over quite a bit, the offense looked better than they had the 2 previous games. So I think things are starting to kind of they're starting to figure their identity out finally on the offensive side of the ball, and I expect things to continue to improve. I really do. And I think they will.
Well, you said something earlier about the seeding for the playoffs, and I want
Yeah.
to hit on that because I believe that's important. I don't mind being where we're at if that is all what it comes out to be, and I wouldn't mind having to take a trip up to Chicago
Mhm.
or Green Bay away playoff game, because nothing would make me feel more confident in this team than you going to Chicago or Green Bay and stomping them in their house. You know what I mean? It would soothe my soul. I think it would soothe a lot of fans' souls to be able. That's an impactful win.
Mhm.
To go up there in the snow, because it will be snowing by that time, and to stomp a team like that in their own home, that's putting a statement down. And I believe that's what this team needs to do at the moment. You're not making statements with the Raiders. You're not making statements beating the Commanders. I don't even know really how much of a statement it is if you beat Buffalo. But I know at come playoff time, up there, you win there, that's completely different. Now, whether or not you agree or disagree with that's just my opinion, but I believe that's a way bigger statement than any other win that they can make the rest of the regular season. I ain't catching any of this, bro. I thought it would come
And
in, but
going to Buffalo is going to be kind of like it's going to be like a pre-playoff game, basically. I think the weather's going to be rough. It's going to be cold. Even if it's not snowing, it's going to be windy. It's going to be cold as shit. And this year, but they have shown that they can. Yeah, I mean Buffalo is. Am I lagging?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. You can pick up where you left off. I just had to let the audio catch up because, yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that the weather, the opponent is going to be similar to, like you said, going against the Chicago, going against the Green Bay in their home stadium. It's the Buffalo game is going to be like a pre-playoff game, basically. So, and Buffalo shown that they can withstand a slow start, but end with the fury. So they're a team that, one of those teams that you, even if you get a lead by, double digits or more, you have to step on their throat and continuing to step on their throat because they can come back on you. They have the offensive power to do it. So if we win tomorrow, like I think we're going to, and if we beat Buffalo in Buffalo, I think our playoff ready. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't understand this whole gentleman's game.
Your weather's bad here, so I apologize for the lag, man.
Oh, you're fine, bud. I don't get this whole gentleman's game that these coaches have going on. Listen, I get back in the day, you had a rule to where you didn't want to blow teams out. Okay, like if you were at 27-0, pump the brakes, ease up, blah blah blah. I don't really like that rule. We have seen so many teams come back on from a big lead that I feel that when you sit there and you play prevent defense a little too much to be safe, because you don't want to be that team that wins 72-14 like the Miami Dolphins did a few years ago, because it just makes you look ugly. I disagree. Listen, first and foremost, I understand, respect, but if you're willing to give up 72 points, I don't feel bad for you. I just, that's the way I am. That's why I said our team had to come out this past weekend and put our foot on their necks and keep them at bay. And they did that. They really did. And I'm proud of them. I just need to see that each and every week now. And one second. Do. Trying to get him back in here. Do. What's up, Drew? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you. I'm dying. Spit it out, man. No, he's having some really crazy rain over there in California, so his service is really bad tonight. Apologize. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sweet. Okay. Well, like I was telling them, I don't really understand or like the whole gentleman's agreement with the respect of the score anymore. Listen, I'm a firm believer if you can do what Miami did a few years ago, where they put 72 up on I forget who that was, but they won like 72-14 or whatever. Hey, do it. I can't feel bad for you if your team's that bad that you give up 72 points. I'm here to do my job as well, and that's the score. And plus, you're not coming back on 72 points. We have seen teams come back. Tom Brady came back from 28-0 in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Right.
There is no more prevent. There is no more, play safe. And no, dude, whatever you got to do, by all means. I don't care if you piss off all 31 other coaches. If you win 60-0, it is 60-0. Hey, guess what? Other coach, get fucking better then. That's not my problem. Coach your team better. Be a better coach and score 60 points yourself. It's not my problem. Like, I get the gentleman thing, you know, but I'm good.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's to me, I have the mindset of Coach Yost from Remember the Titans when the powers that be were telling him that he needed to lose to stay in the high school Hall of Fame balloting and all, to be voted into the high school Hall of Fame. And Coach Yost turned to Boone and he said, "Run it up, Herman. Leave no. You score 50, 40, 50, 60 or more points. There's no coming back from that." And I agree with you. There should never be any mercy rule in football because teams have shown that they can come back huge deficits. And you don't want to be, like you mentioned, the Falcons, they still haven't gotten over being down 28-3 in the fucking Super Bowl at halftime and blowing that shit to Tom Brady and company. So they still haven't got over it. They never did, and they probably won't for a while because more than likely from being competitive. They are.
Bro, we just lost with a 21-point lead this year. Like,
exactly. Yeah. And then 21-7 at halftime. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
like
I've never been one
inkling of doubt. Yeah. I'm with you, dude. I'm absolutely with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got what
and it's
you
not
meant.
about it's not about being disrespectful to the other team because at the end of the day, NFL is about winning and losing. You don't want to fucking tie. Ties are ugly. You either win or you fucking lose. And you don't want to fucking lose. So what do? You score as many fucking points as you possibly can. And you say, fuck you. This is a defense. This is a competitive sport. And we are going to do anything and everything in our power to walk away with the W. So deal with it. You fucking think it's disrespectful, then you fucking think it's disrespectful. I don't give a shit.
Two things. One.
Right?
First thing, let's reverse this. Take it as a compliment. Because that means if I'm not playing conservative and my foot is constantly on the pedal, then in my mind, I believe you can come back on me. So that's actually a plus towards you because I think you're good enough to come back. If I'm playing conservative, isn't that a slap in your face because I say you suck? You know what I'm saying? Like when you play conservative, you're saying you don't scare me. I have no fear of you. You can't come back on me. But if my foot's on the gas and I'm constantly scoring, that means, oh, you do scare me. I do worry about you, and you can come back and take this lead from me. I think opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now,
it's a good way to look at it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't.
And you can't get, and two, you can't get. You can't get too dependent on your colleague, your defensive coordinator. If you're an offensive coordinator who has got a lead, you can't go, oh well, I have Vic Fangio, so I can let my foot off the gas. No, fuck that. You got to play like you have the worst fucking coordinator as your defensive coordinator, then as possible, right? You got to fucking keep your foot on the gas until the fucking final whistle blows. You got
to play like you got KP as your defensive coordinator.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then here's the second thing to why I say do it. because it benefits the other team you did it to. And here's why I say that. I've been on teams before. Now, I can't say football, but I can say basketball and even baseball. I have been on teams before where we have gotten a mud hole stomped in us. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You've had probably a team before where you just, there was nothing you could do all season long and you guys were just straight ass. Here's the thing. When you get beat 72-0, no matter how terrible you are, correct me if I'm wrong, that shit never happens again because you never want to feel that way again. So in all honesty, I'm doing you a benefit by kicking your ass because now you know how that feels and you'll never go back there again. Or you will. But you know what I'm saying? Like there is benefits to it as well.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know, man. Some people probably are going to watch this now and say I'm not a gentleman anymore. But hey,
Nah,
I hold the doors for my wife. I do things gentleman-like. Just I don't believe that football is a gentleman's sport. If that is the one thing I will say that I respected McDaniels for when he did that. I was like, you don't see that very often, but it showed me he wasn't scared to do it. You know, and I was like, damn, man, if Nick just had a little bit more balls like that, you know. But yeah, man, I never want to see my team let off the gas ever again. I don't care if you score 50. Hell, if you put up 120, you ain't hearing me cry. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
I'm not.
Yeah. And speaking of respect, you know, somebody who I lost some respect for this past week, and pretty much a lot of my respect for, is one Puka Nacua. You know, with his antics and making his comments and things like that. You know, I was laughing my ass off that he balled out last night, but they ended up losing. So all that was wasted in a loss, basically. So he kind of got a little bit of karma back to him for making the comments that he made over this past week, so things like that. So, you know,
I missed those. What did he say?
It's just sad that somebody who he made some comments about, well, not just, first off, he started making comments about the officials and then just making calls because I believe he made an anti-Semitic gesture on a live stream, and he claims that he didn't know that it was offensive or that it was anti-Semitic, but you know, and I guess he did apologize, but I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way, and I feel like you have to be, as a professional athlete, you got to be smarter on the things that you do and the things that you say and where you do them and where you say them and things like that. So, you know, it's just kind of sad to see an NFL star do something so stupid.
Are we talking like Illuminati nonsense shit, or even worse than that?
Yeah, he did.
We talking Nazi? We talking Illuminati?
Probably around those lines, yeah, I would say. I think probably more Nazi.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't he Hawaiian?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like Pacific Islander. Yeah, I believe so.
That's a interesting.
Kind of a weird thing, right, for a non-white person to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's interesting. I
You know, and I'm
I
not.
would never. No, in all honesty, man, and I'm being truthful here. Out of all the people in the world, seriously, I wouldn't take a Pacific
That's
Islander
surprising,
to
right?
be that way. Yeah, I wouldn't
Right.
take them.
Yeah.
Just and that should be a compliment to them. I just that
No, it
would be
should
like Troy
absolutely.
Polamalu pulling that stunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Very
just
much
doesn't make
so.
sense. It doesn't make sense at
Yeah.
all. Like so,
It doesn't.
I'm a little. That's weird. That's weird. Okay, I didn't know
And
nothing about that.
and you know, I I'm not. I don't practice the Jewish faith. And I'm more of a Christian myself. You know, I'm more of a Christmas celebrator, but I do have family and relatives who are Jewish, so I take a little extra offense to shit like that. You know, I really it just to me it's just not smart. You know, you're the light is on you, the spotlight is on you. Just be smarter about your shit. It's one thing to think it. Don't fucking put it out there to the world. That's just fucking dumb. You know, you can't get rid of all the hate in the world. You're never going to. There's always going to be racism and hate and things like that. But and you, like I said, you could think it. Just don't fucking put it out there. Especially when you're a professional athlete or when you're a celebrity, things like that. It's just not smart. It's just not. Just my opinion, man. I had to get it out there.
No, man. Listen, since we're down this road, I'll say this.
Back to football.
I truly believe that we give our players too much freedom when it comes to the outside world. Like I believe as long as you are playing football, you shouldn't be able to podcast. Like listen, here's the thing. I pay we pay AJ Brown $100 million a year. That first and foremost, that is a shit or $100 million, okay, for his contract. That's a shit ton of money.
Right.
Okay. That is a shit ton of money. One, I don't pay. I understand it's in the contract, but to a fan, you are paying him $100 million to play wide receiver. As a fan, I don't look at AJ Brown as the $100 million receiver who has to do 3 press conferences a week. I don't look at AJ Brown as the guy that has to do commercials or anything like that. No, we pay him to play football. We pay Smitty to play football. You know what I mean? I don't. I understand these guys have to make money outside of football with endorsements. That's one thing. But listen, the podcasting is kind of what got Micah caught up in Dallas. You know, since he's been in Green Bay, he's cut way back off on that shit. He's focused more on football. You know,
He's gonna have a lot of time to podcast now because he ain't gonna be playing.
Right? You can podcast when you retire. Yeah. Right now, that shit stays in the locker room. You stay in there. We pay you to play football. You go to practices. And I like I said, man, I'm because, and you can thank our reporters for this. I don't want our reporters talking to our players after a win or a loss, no matter what. You want to talk to the players, do it on a Wednesday during the week, once a week. Like, and you can't ask them private questions like, what do you think this offense needs to do better? No, you ask my OC that question. That is why he's the OC. The OC has that answers. These guys get paid to play and do what my OC says. You don't ask my players what this offense needs to do better. They know what they need to do better. You ask them what do you think about the opponent they're taking on next week in the Lions and the CB they're going to be matched up against. Ask them real shit. Don't ask them this stupid, crazy crap about, oh, like you guys are on a 3-game losing streak. Do you still have it? Get the fuck out of here. The kid's 27 years old. I'm pretty sure he still has it. You know, and that's what I'm saying, man. The shit has to stop. Like you beat these guys down day in and day out. And then you show up and you have the audacity face to face to talk with them. And then you take what they say and you spin it into clickbait and you cause drama and shit in this organization. And then still every week they have to see these guys. Every week they have to put up with stupid questions. I don't pay them to do that. We pay them to play football. Yeah, it's in the conference. You know what I want my players to do from now on, bro? I'm here so I don't get fined. Marshawn Lynch the fuck out these dudes. I'm not even playing. Every single one of them, dude. I just want you to sit there and say, I'm here so I don't get fined. You leave the talking up to Nick, up to Vic, and up to KP. I don't want to hear a single player talk because it just seems like no matter what these guys say, you guys try to spin and alternate the narrative to fit it suit your needs. And that is bullshit. From now on, I'm here so I don't get fined. And the fact that you have to fine my players because they don't show up to media is bullshit to begin with, because that's not what we pay them for. We pay them to play football.
Right. And I'm with you. You know, I don't think that as long as they are actively healthy, like if they're not out for the year and they're on an active roster, I don't think they should be podcasting. I don't think they should be doing shit like that because it's a distraction. We pay them a shit ton of money to play a sport, not to become a content creator and go on YouTube or go on whatever platform and talk about what they want to talk about. Yeah, some may say, oh, well, you're infringing on their freedom of speech. You know what? You sign that freedom of speech away, at least during the season, when you sign that contract for millions of dollars. Like you said, we pay guys like A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts a lot of fucking money. Smitty, all these guys, a lot of fucking money to play football, not to do anything else but really practice, condition, and fucking play football. Like they can podcast all they want in the off season, or if they're hurt and they're out for the year, or if, like you said, after they're done playing, podcast all you want. And you know what? I'm taking it even another step further, and I said this to my wife the other night when it was when the Vikings were playing the Cowboys on Monday night. You see guys like Justin Jefferson, and I fucking love Justin Jefferson. I think he's an amazing fucking talent. But you see these guys wear all this jewelry while they're playing football. There's probably more, and people are saying, "Oh, you're being kind of strict." Well, you know what? If it's one play where the light from a camera or a light from the stadium shines off one of those diamonds and it fucking blinds the quarterback from making an accurate, then so be it. I don't think that the guy should be wearing all this fucking flashy fucking jewelry while they're playing football. I really, really don't. You can wear that shit when you're in the locker room. You can wear it to leave. When you do interviews, things like that. Right. Exactly. See, you want that shit snatched off your neck? That can get ripped off when you get tackled. I mean, there could be thousands of dollars laying there on the field potentially. So,
bro, hold up.
I may be being petty, but every little thing matters in the NFL.
This dude intentionally ripped people's chains off. This dude knew that your chain was $50,000 and he did not give a fuck. He snatched that bitch and he threw it on the ground and he laughed and walked away. That is a soulless motherfucker, bro. Like 50, I'm just saying, bro. You want to wear chains? That's fine. Expect them to get ripped off and don't bitch about a flag whenever it happens. Just like, I'm sorry to say, dudes who have long hair, you know? How many times back in the day did we see these guys get ripped down by their long hair and they were like, oh, we want a flag? No, the hair is part of the jersey. Guess what? If you don't want to be tackled by your hair, put it in a bun, or face it, you might just get ripped down by your hair if that's the only thing they can grab. It's not their fault. It's your hair, bro. You know, and some of them is for religious purposes, but they grab what they grab. You know what I mean? So
right. Yep, I agree with you. No, it's to me, if I was the coach, I'd be like, you know what? Take the fucking necklace off, take that jewelry off, put your fucking mouthpiece in. That's another thing that drives me crazy in this league, in the NFL. You see so many of these guys without their mouthpiece in, and where they're supposed to be about preventing concussions and things like that, protecting the brain from getting CTE, things like that. Well, a mouthpiece is, that's what that does. It protects you from getting a concussion, from getting a broken jaw, from getting missing teeth like I have. Yeah, that's what that shit is there for. It's to protect you. I mean, like, you know, if you can't breathe, then go on the sideline and go take a fucking break.
Well, and Drew, just so you know, buddy,
so you can breathe better. Maybe you should be doing the things that you do on your off time to, you know, maybe get yourself in better shape.
Well, first off, Drew, I gotta say that these guys are educated on media. I mean, the one thing that you're
really money revenue for these guys? Come on now.
Well, first off, your agent, your sports agent, like that is one of the things that they work with you on first and foremost. You know, your agent pretty much helps you with that because they want you to look good. Hell, half of them probably write these guys' shit for them when they have to go out and like do apologies or something to the public. That's probably written by them because they know what to say that to make them look good to the media. Like, but these guys all through college, because certain people know already that they're going to be big name stars. Now, I'm not saying every single football player is educated in media, but Carson Wentz, Eli Manning, all these guys that were coming out of college that were, even Caleb Williams, because they knew he was going to be the first overall pick. They're all educated to a certain degree because they know what they're supposed to say, what they're not supposed to say. You know, that there's things behind it. So I'm not saying they go to class for it in college and have to take like an education class, but they're educated from certain people because they have to be educated for these media things. You know, they just don't throw them out there to the wolves and just say sink or swim. Like they're prepared. They prep them for it. You know, and Tom Brady took pay cuts because his wife was rich as fuck. We all know that. But he did do it smart, though, too, knowing that him taking pay cuts was able to let him build a team around him. And then him and Kraft later on down the road said, your last 2 years, I'll just give you $50 million each and we'll equal it out at the end. And Tom was fine with that, you know. And my third thing about it is I do get the podcasting thing. But I've seen Micah Parsons' followers. Micah ain't making enough money on YouTube that he ain't already making on the field. You know, you want to talk another avenue of money, you got to do what Jalen Hurts did and get Jordan Brand. You got to get the Jordan brand, you got to get Adidas or Nike alone or something like that. That's big bucks. Podcasting, dude, you better be in the 1 million range if you think you're going to start making anything off this shit. Listen, you can ask some of these guys. Yeah, 500 makes good money. But you should see some of these guys that make 1 million followers and shit, man. That's where the real money is. YouTube is a good thing, but it's only good to so many people, man. And with the sponsorships and all, like SeatGeek
for a reason.
Yeah, and like your sponsorships like SeatGeek and stuff, dude, that stuff only goes so far. You get a percentage of that, and you got to have so many people do it before you even start seeing anything back from it. Like, it's crazy, man. I'm just saying, Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about upper echelon athletes.
Well, yeah, no, I get that. Like, for instance,
they don't need extra.
I can go out and get Manscaped right
revenue
now for
avenues.
hardcore sports if I wanted to.
They're making
I can go out and get
a lot
hardcore
of fucking
sports
money
sponsored by Manscaped right now. But unless I have like 5,000 of you going out there and purchasing Manscaped with our promo code, it benefits me nothing. If 5 or 6 of you do it, it benefits me nothing. 100 of you do it, it benefits me nothing. I make more money at my normal job than that. That's what I'm saying, man. I do get what you're saying, but you have to have so many people use that code before it even starts paying dividends toward you. That also works for the commercials on here. When you guys get commercials, when you watch videos, that shit has to be ran through so many times before any of us would even start seeing money. You know what I mean? Like, it might be $5 here and there. It's just how YouTube is, man. I'm just saying, you got to have a shit ton of followers to even be successful on here, and the views have to count. Everything has to count. He will get popular when he retires because he'll be able to do it constantly and stuff. But I'm just saying that goes for anyone. It's just not that easy, man. There is a lot of loopholes into the money aspect of this. YouTube takes a shit ton of money from us, a shit ton, and they don't hide it. So they get their money, bro. But you got anything left that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I guess I'm
Yeah,
just
bro.
more old school, and I'm with you, AK. Get your money through sponsorships. No, I think we've said our piece for the week.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming out. Thank you so much. What's going on, Ralph? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you for hopping in. Thank you, Drew, for stopping by, man. Appreciate you so much, dude. I just know our Eagles better not play around with the Commandos. Yeah, no, they shouldn't, man. Like I said earlier, this is a game they have nothing to play for.
You.
Okay. they have nothing to play for, and you know, that's what kind of makes them dangerous, because right now that it's all about just playing spoils. So you know, hopefully they just kind of roll over, but I hardly doubt they'll do that because they're a division opponent, and even though their season's over, they're all about still disappointing us. SE, appreciate you, sir, for stopping through. Thank you so much. And my guy, Phil, appreciate you, sir, from Trending in the AM. Thank you so much, man. Definitely go check his show out in the morning. Philly Halftime, Big D. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, until next time, I am Eagles Uncensored, AK. And that man right there is Philly Foothills Fuego, my best friend. And every Friday night, we do the East Meets West. So hopefully we see you guys next week. And until next time, peace. Fly Eagles fly. And hopefully we get the W tomorrow.